Hello everyone, watch this review here with well, I guess it's not really a review, but it's a discussion on the Creature from the Black Lagoon. Not necessarily just the movie or the merch, but the whole character and, everything you see. Now, Creature from the Black Lagoon, or Gillman, to save myself a lot of breath, or Gillian. No, Gillian's a girl's name, and he's clearly a guy. Or lesbian. No, I think he's a guy. Probably a guy, because they wouldn't have lesbian monsters back then. Wow, I kind of got derailed pretty quickly, but, right. Moving on. Gillman, which actually was the name that I think was first introduced in the second movie, Revenge of the Creature, is possibly the most underrated of all the Universal monsters, or at least the big names that are kind of associated with each other. It also happens to be one of their really unique things, because, Dracula, they took them somewhere else. Frankenstein's monster actually was taken from somewhere else. Phantom of the Opera, Hunchback, obviously, both taken from somewhere else, although both those are kind of not really considered as much monsters. The big four or five are Drac, Wolfman, Gillman, Mummy, and Wolfman. Right. But out of a lot of those, this one just doesn't seem to get as much attention, despite the fact that this is kind of a original creation of theirs. And, it's a damn shame, because he was a pretty cool character. He's in 3 movies. I picked up the Legacy collection some time ago. I still have not seen The Creature Walks Among Us. I actually meant to watch this tonight before I did this review, but I ended up watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Well, I decided to watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show because I got really fascinated with it after watching an episode of Glee, and why am I telling you this? Moving on. I don't really feel like going on to that train of thought, and it won't end well, but The Creature Walks Among Us supposedly had something to do with, giving Gilliman surgery so he'll be able to walk among humans as a human, and probably would be a rather silly one anyway, but the 2 main ones are The Creature from the Black Lagoon, which some people have compared to kind of being a King Kong knockoff, where you have a group of adventurers seeking out this beast or something, and then it falls for a beautiful woman. There's a lot of scenes that kind of mirror, just the examining of a woman. But the Revenge of the Creature, they actually capture it, they bring it back to civilization, obviously escapes, goes mad, again abducts a woman. Actually, you'll see it abducting a woman right there, but I'm not sure if that's from the first or second. Now, the really kick-ass thing about, well, the really cool thing, I don't usually say kick-ass, well, at least not while I'm shooting a review, but about this collection is it has commentary by Tom Weaver. Tom Weaver is awesome! He does the most incredible commentaries, very conversational, very in-depth. If he was only a normal reviewer, that'd be so freaking awesome, but no. But he did the track for the main track. I think he teamed up on the second track and the third track as well, which I haven't actually listened to. The first track, though, was amazing, plus I heard one of his other tracks on one of the other ones. Now, of the other ones in the collection, I watched the Dracula edition, and they had somebody else doing the commentary. I think it was David J. Scal, who I've actually read or started reading one of his books some time ago, but then he's just not as entertaining of a guy, so I put that down. But that's too much talking about David J. Scal, not enough talking about Tom Weaver and the Creature. But let's move on to the next collectible I have here, because it's show and tell right now, folks. Now, I also had a bendy creature. I wish I'd picked up the Universal large size, it was a 6-inch monster, but I never found it in stores. It was a KB exclusive or something. I think it goes for 30 or 40 now, so I might pick it up eventually if I find it cheap. It didn't have much articulation, but this is the BK1. BK released a set of Universal monsters back in 97. I unfortunately did not manage to pick up that set. Well, I think it was I wasn't driving at the time at any rate, and I didn't have money, so wasn't making a lot of stops at BK. But it actually squirts water. It's kind of lame because it's translucent. see right through it, and, Gilliman you can't really see through, and besides that, when you have translucent figures, you lose out on a lot of the detail because you can't really see it as well. But I mean, the face sculpt is actually kind of excellent, but again, light shines right through it. This one took me a while to find. I think I picked up for like 15 or so off eBay, but it was released, there's no tags or anything on it, sometime around, I think, 97 or 2000. I kept seeing it in like various places from people who owned it, and they weren't able to really tell me where they got theirs from, but you can still find these on eBay. Also, I guess there's a 6-inch one that was in 24-inch. I forget, it's like a much larger one because it's like 6 inches right here. But I mean, it's a very, very cute accessory. It does the character justice. The only problem was mine came with like a little stain on one of the fins, and I should have left like negative feedback or something, but whatever. Very cool soft flaps here. So yeah. Well, it's actually kind of hard to say why I love The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I mean, obviously the movie's a little bit, I mean, it's okay. The sequel, sort of passable, but the character design I always thought was really awesome. I like the concept of, just some prehistoric thing existing out there that sort of resembles man. I also really liked, I think it was one of those Yeti, The Abominable Snowman, which was a horror film back in like 60s or 70s, where an expedition to the Himalayas encounters them, and it's sort of the same premise, but basically you have like some uncharted part of the world where things like this still exist, and in addition to that, it's really just the whole design of the character really just looks really, really awesome. Obviously it doesn't look that awesome in translucent form, but looks really cool like this. The one downside, of course, are those outrageously silly lips, which I've never really liked, and sometimes they even paint them in red. It's like, why would a reptile or amphibian man, well, they call him like either a fish man or an amphibian man, I think it was a fish, would have like red lips, but I honestly don't know. But when you see him swimming in the water, it's just got this really cool effect. I'm not really sure how they actually did that in the movies, but I think it was just a guy in a rubber suit swimming around. But I imagine that'd kind of get really tough after a while. Now, I think the original costume was destroyed, and they had to make a new one for the second film. I can't remember. They're trying to keep secrecy about one of these movies. I remember from one of the commentaries. Actually, it might not have been this one. It might have been... It came from another world. Not cold, it came from the other world, something else. But at any rate, it's just a really wicked costume. It's an awesome character design, and I just kind of like the whole reptile man approach because it's just so different from a lot of the other stuff we get. And over the years, a lot of people have kind of taken the nod from this, and although it never got a Hammer remake, like Hammer Films remade a lot of the Universal movies. Creature from the Black Lagoon was notably absent. They redid a bunch of Draculas, the Frankensteins, including having, I think it was Peter Cushing playing Dr. Frankenstein, a few of them. Peter Cushing, obviously amazing actor. But Creature from the Black Lagoon, largely neglected. A remake was in the works since like late 1990s, early thousands. Nothing came of it yet. I think it's getting released in 2011. If it's in 2011, it's not released. I don't know what to tell you. But they even have parodies of him in most other things. Like you saw Monster Squad, they do have a monster greatly resembling the creature, but obviously not quite there because they had to avoid copyright infringement, I think. I don't remember. And then the House of Dracula, or the House of Frankenstein, a TV miniseries, which was also pretty good. I think it was like the late 90s, early thousands again, that also had a creature, I believe. So, I mean, definitely he has left his mark, although he just has never gotten as much appreciation as he should, but occasionally you will see him with the other monsters for the trifecta of evil or whatever. But, it's just a monster that seriously needs a nod, so I'm nodding. Or giving a shout out to a monster. Whatever you might call it. But yeah, this has been Watch This Review with the Creature from the Black Lagoon, aka Gilliman, aka Gilly, but not Gillian. Until next time, folks.